Good morning, evening, afternoon, I'm Tato Cat. Welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, or Plot for short. It's been a long time. I've been sick and holidays and stuff, and I feel like I'm risen from the grave, and hopefully I'm back to my schedule again, and I will be back on it for a while, regular recordings. So previously, Emma was put on the stand. She described her beautiful picture that she drew during what she saw during a flash of lightning, which was somebody hitting something with something, and it turns out it was already a broken sword, weapon, knife, which meant that Dark wasn't the one who done it. Dun dun dun. And yeah, we're talking about that stuff. And that's where I left off. Yeah, so let's continue. Wait! I remember now! I remember everything! Witness? Mr. Edgeworth! What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? Yeah, a picture. Beautiful. I knew it! This picture? I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. I hear this song in my nightmares sometimes. And then something pops out and then I wake up. So, like, this is the evidence, right? So basically, Goodman gives her the evidence list and tells her to draw on it. I guess in a rush it makes sense, but like, really? The evidence list? And then nobody notices that it's been ripped in half. They're just like, well, this is shorter than normal. Okay, game. All this time, I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked that part away, this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony. Would you please tell us what you recall, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. Why is he sweating like that when he's saying that? I feel like those two facial expressions don't go with that word. But okay, Phoenix, you do you. Testimony. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and I rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the Blue Badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Okay. This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
You're only just now realizing this, Judge? Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now... Stop! Please, I don't remember what voice I did for it. I think it was monotone and unfeeling. Stop. Please don't pursue this any further. Lana! What is the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. She's in a chair? I just assume that they're all standing at all times. But you can't do this. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of this matter. And it's going to be gooey. Okay, I'm just going to, like, you know, click on everything because it's just safe. I don't remember what I took hits for. No, one of them was the knife thing. I don't know what the first thing was. I saw that man raise his knife. Oh, it's gonna have something to do with the blue badger. If you're saying something like that, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's probably this thing. Since it actually mentions the thing that we're curious about. Are you sure about this? Of course! See? I even drew a picture of him here! But it was Chief of Detectives who thought of the hideous beast. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him in the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I saw his shadow. Okay, so it wasn't quite that part. So is it this one? Sorry for the coughing. I still have a bit of a cough. His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right. But I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. The thing could have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who is the Blue Badger, really? I'm just gonna say I just might know. Because it's better to just say yes in this game. The Blue Badger hadn't been dreamt of when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the Blue Badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright? In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is that the witness saw in that instant? Now it's gonna be newer evidence. Because it's not the shoe. And wouldn't be a picture. I'm assuming it's this thing. It's like, look at the things. Like, what's that sentence say? The dark stain must be blood traces from the incident 2 years ago. Only the fragment found in the chief office still has lines remaining on it. And you, like, look at that. What was that? There's a hole in the bottom of it? Why? This jar has no bottom, so the hole goes right through. I wonder if it's really a jar or some kind of weird telescope. Yeah, look, that's totally the shape. Look at that. Alright. Watch, just gonna say no. You wanna be wrong again. Blue Badger was in fact this. That's... what exactly is that? It's something. It's not really a jar if there's like a hole in the bottom of it. Pottery? Statue. I'm sure there's a proper name for such a thing, and I don't know what it is. I believe it's some sort of jar. But wait, Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we're to change our viewpoint? So you're telling me Phoenix saw this and was like, yep, those look like the horns. Our viewpoints. I know I saw it and thought it, but Phoenix is a different. Oh, a guy moving around. No, that's not it. I think the other way works better. Has the shape. Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. It's a little... Oh no. Maybe a little... like that. What? No? Was I not in the right place? Okay. Okay, let's try that again. Because this isn't right. And the horns don't point the way right. I guess it's more of a jester's hat, isn't it? Is that better?
Take that! Objection!
No, that's right, isn't it? Maybe the thing needs to be pointed up more. This is... Is this it?
Take that!
Okay. That's fine. I got there eventually. I was right. It was just like very specific angle. Well, is this a miracle or what? A rage-inducing miracle. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No, it can't be. Order, order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this.
Objection!
Although we enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So, that blue badger thing, was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything.
Objection!
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, slams on desk. You see, this changes everything. Indeed, very well then. Please tell us, what's the difference now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location, the murder weapon, the murderer. Well, the location was supposed to happen over in Lana's area, but the jar was in Gaunt's area. So the location, because like the weapon is still the weapon, the murderer is still the murderer that we know of. So the location. Allow me to take these in turn. Okay. I don't know, I just felt weird saying that. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. A very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes. Well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gaunt. Gaunt, whatever. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gaunt's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gaunt's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. Huh? If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. Did you? So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah, is what she says. The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King Prosecutor's Trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea. But nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? The events took place as the defense theorizes. Then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, wow. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Thud. Wait, wasn't... Hold on a second. Oh, I can't look at my... Can I look at my court rec... My... Oh, there we go. Let me see the picture of this. How is the sword being held? It doesn't really show. I was like, is the sword being held up? Or is it like down? Oh, okay, I see. It's my mouse. It's right here. So she knocked him into the sword? Dude. Man, can we stop having these kids like accidentally murdering people? And that's why Lana is so protective and wanting to take blame for it. Not because of Gaunt, because Emma. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life. And then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky. Just given the circumstances, Joe Tark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin this crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. Well, this has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, right. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I have to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. Doesn't exist. It would be in the evidence. I'm assuming it's written on the jar because there's that suspicious blood thing that's like, oh, he has it in his thing. Oh, look at it. The lines, the blood. It's probably written there. It's probably in the evidence. The message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to account of Emma's crime. There's only one thing we seek: the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Well, we're going to stop it here. We're going to see if dead people can talk again. We know they do. They've done it before in this game. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Until then, see you next time.